I loved skateboarding as a little boy, but I didn't really do it very much. Then in adulthood, a kid gave me his skateboard at around 26. Braille skateboarding channel was doing a 24-hour live stream. It was Aaron Cairo and Ricky Glaza. It was the two of them in an empty warehouse. And so I typed in the message to them, I want to learn how to do a kickflip. And when I decided I wanted to land a kickflip, I downloaded that app. And on my phone, it's Aaron and like 3 other people and me, our faces. I was like very surprised. I didn't think it was going to be that direct. So me landing that kickflip was like, okay, it's all on the table. So, you know, I'm not too old. I'm not too uncoordinated. Like whatever it is that I want to do with all of this, I can do it. So let's go.
Bienvenidos a un nuevo episodio de Efecto Ollie, donde hablamos de patinetas, proyectos, anécdotas y aprendizajes.
Así es, banda. Sean bienvenidos a Efecto Ollie, su podcast favorito de skate de México, el mundo y sus alrededores ALB.
Efecto Ollie, detrás de la mente de Ricardo Hombre Oro. Richard Goldman, a.k.a. Rick the Legend. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for
wait. I messed up. I'm sorry. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, gracias.
Perro.
¿Cómo te trata México?
En español, estoy aburrido. Y mi lenguaje es muy malo. Aprendiendo muy lento y hablo en español con ustedes, pero no tengo palabras.
No tienes palabras.
Sí.
No worries, G.
There's no problem.
Thank you.
No worries, G. So, before we start, we're gonna announce our sponsorship, okay?
Pues antes que nada, agradecer a Switch Skate School que nos estás prestando aquí sus headquarters. Chingón, la neta. Pues vayan, síganlos. Aquí les está apareciendo su username. Inscríbanse. Díganle a sus mamás que los pongan ahí, güey. Compren la merch. No sé si tienes merch de Switch también. A huevo. Agradecer a Bolo Brand, nuestro patrocinador oficial, que la neta siempre está ahí al tiro, güey. Siempre pendiente. Siempre apoyando. Y agradecer a nuestros miembros del canal que aquí les están apareciendo. Ellos siempre tienen su suscripción activa. La neta se aprecia machín. Y si tú no eres miembro, ahí está, güey. Paga tu suscripción.
Ahí está. Ok. Pues igual, muchas gracias por venir, Rick. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for joining us. And you want to start off telling your kickflip story? That's how we're going to start off. Because that's a good story, by the way.
Okay.
And I enjoyed listening to it.
Okay. I'll tell you my kickflip story. So for background, I loved skateboarding as a little boy, but I didn't really do it very much because I was a competitive tennis player. And then in adulthood, a kid gave me his skateboard. I got back into it around 26. I learned some of the basic tricks. And then I just skated with those basic tricks for like 15, 20 years, just enjoying. And then COVID came, and I decided I want to land a kickflip. So I started practicing in my garage. I practiced for probably 3 months. I didn't land a single kickflip. I was starting to get pretty desperate, like maybe I can't figure this out.
How long were you trying it for each day?
I would say 30 minutes, 40 minutes of just kickflip.
Okay. Every day?
5 days a week.
5 days a week.
Yeah, something like that. And, you know, when I would get frustrated, I would do, you know, more basics, a bunch of ollies and pop shoves and then get back to it and just never landed one. I could get the board to rotate, but I couldn't convince myself to put my feet out there. And oftentimes I was flicking it out in front of me. So I would come down, my back foot's nowhere near the board. My front foot's like on the middle of the board. So after a couple of months, I was at home. I came home from work one day. I got back to work early during the pandemic because I'm a tennis pro. And so we were outside and I was able to keep working. And I got home from work and Braille, the Braille skateboarding channel, was doing a 24-hour live stream on Valentine's Day. So it was February 14th. And I put it on while I was cooking, and I sat down to watch, and they were doing nothing. It was Aaron Cairo and Ricky Glaza, and it was the two of them in an empty warehouse talking, and every hour they would do a kickflip. And so I typed in the message to them, like, I want to learn how to do a kickflip. The message just scrolled through super fast. They didn't see it or respond to it. But they kept talking about Discord. And I didn't know what Discord was. But they were talking about Braille Army Discord. And the Braille Army, there's an app that they came out with. And when I decided I wanted to land a kickflip, I downloaded that app so that I could, like, put out into the world, I want to land a kickflip. I thought that would make me more determined to get it done. So I opened up the Braille Army app, and I looked for Discord, and there was like a link, and I downloaded that app, and it was Discord. And then I went to the Braille Army Discord, and on my phone, it's Aaron and like 3 other people and me, like our faces. And I was like very surprised. I didn't think it was going to be that direct. And they're all like, what's up? And I was like, hey, I want to learn how to do a kickflip. You guys want to let me learn how to do a kickflip? And they're like, maybe not today. Like, come back during the day. Sometime we'll make a video about it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, guys, I'm 45 minutes away from you. Like, you've got a 24-hour live stream going on. Yeah. Like, how about we do this?
Yeah.
And they kind of looked at each other, and they were like, okay, come on down. So I drove down there. I was nervous. And I got to their warehouse at like 1 a.m. And I went in, and they had called a filmer to come. His name was Andrew, and he's a sweet guy. Anyways, I went in, I met them.
So the filmer wasn't there. They called him to go film it.
Correct.
All right, cool.
Yeah. So I get in, and they asked me to show them my basics, like Ollie, front 180, back 180, pop shove. And I did that, and they were like, okay, let's see your kickflip. And it was like rotation, but nothing else. And they were like, oh, this is going to be easy. Like, you're almost there. We got it. So they give me some tips, and within an hour, mm-hmm. I did get both feet on the board. And like one of them, I landed back foot on the tail, front foot nowhere, and then put front foot on the board. So it never touched the ground. And they were like ready to celebrate. And I was like, that's not a kickflip. You know, like,
you want to do a good one.
I want a kickflip. Yeah. Like both feet on the board. Like, so that was early. That was like maybe 2 a.m. And that happened a couple more times. And then at like, I want to say it was probably 4 o'clock in the morning now. So like 3 hours in, I'm getting dehydrated. I'm like frustrated. They got me some water. And I was like, I need to go outside and like take a break. Mm-hmm. I go outside, and Andrew came outside with me. And I was like, dude, what if I can't land it? Like, I'm taking up everybody's time. And he's like, 1, you're going to land it. And 2, people want to see you land it. Like, you're not taking up anybody's time. Like, we're invested in this. This is what we want to see. And it was a very sweet thing to say. Mm-hmm. And it gave me courage to just go in and keep going. So I kept going. I want to say 5:36 in the morning. So yeah, like 5 hours in, I'm starting to get tired.
Let me ask you something. Were you trying it one after another without stopping at all, like without resting? Maybe.
Yeah.
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 Damn.
It was just one after the next, because I got to the point. Like anytime I would be sort of close, I want back on the board as fast as possible. Like I know I'm going to get it. And then when I'd start to fatigue, like I might, take 20 seconds or 30 seconds to like get my heart rate back down and then get back on it.
Get some air.
Yeah. And then around 5:30 or 6, I was like, I have no exit strategy. Like I'm not leaving here until this happens. Like I can't at some point just be like, oh, okay, thanks guys. You know what I mean?
You were committed.
100% committed. So I kept going. 8:45 in the morning, I said, I'm going to go get a cup of coffee across the street. I'll be right back. And like walking to the coffee, my legs are rubber. Like it's not feeling good at all. I drank the coffee. That didn't feel good either. And I came back and I tried for like 3 more hours.
Wow.
At 11 o'clock, I realized like I'm not going to be able to drive home. My body's completely done. So I say, look, I hate to do this, but like I can't go anymore. And they were like, you did great, you know, all positivity. And they gave me a skateboard and they're so proud of me. But like I walked away feeling like I cannot believe it that I couldn't land it.
You couldn't land it.
Yeah, I just couldn't do it.
How were you feeling by that time? Were you feeling dizziness, or were you say your legs were shaking, all shaky? Were you feeling like, how were you feeling?
Extreme fatigue is the best way to describe it. Before I got on the road to leave, I pulled over to throw up the coffee that I had.
Okay,
My body was rejecting it all.
Everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I don't know if you've ever like tried to train for a long run or something where you're really like pushing past that spot where your body says no more and you're like, yeah, more, I got this.
Yeah.
And then you kind of catch a second wind, but you can go to the fail point.
That actually happens in skateboarding. When you try a trick downstairs for like 3-4 hours, that happens. Like your first 2 hours, like, okay, I'm really tired, but you keep going, and then 1 more hour passes by, and then 1 more hour, and then you get like, it feels like it's not even you trying it anymore. It's like your soul trying it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, body no longer has anything to say.
Can't feel the body anymore.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got home around 12 o'clock, 12:30 in the afternoon, and I went to sleep. I woke up the next morning. I could not move my legs at all without my arms. My arms had to pick my legs up. So I couldn't get into my car very easily. Getting out of it was a real nightmare. And fortunately, I don't have to work on Mondays, and that was a Monday. So I went to work on Tuesday, just completely unable to walk. Yeah, I'm a tennis pro. So I get myself in the middle of the court with a basket of balls, and like, that's it. I'm not moving, you know, like I'm feeding balls out of the basket today. And my people at work are like, what happened to you? And I'm like, just long story. Like, don't worry about it. I'll be fine, you know?
You don't want to know.
Exactly. And then Wednesday, I still couldn't move. Thursday, I was in a lot of pain, but I could move.
Yeah.
And once I knew that I was going to have like physical power again, I called Aaron. And I was like, dude, we got to finish this. Like, I have to land a kickflip. My birthday is on Sunday. It was on, the following Sunday. So I asked if we could do it on Sunday. And he said, that's everybody's day off, but I'll call them in and we'll do it. Cool. And I was like, don't do that.
Not
like,
again.
I don't want, like, please.
The pressure,
no.
all the pressure.
Yeah. And he's like, well, can you come in Saturday? And I was like, no, I have to work on Saturday. And he's like, all right, we'll do it another time. I said, fine. Saturday came. I had a bunch of cancellations in the afternoon. And I told my boss, I'm like, look, I got something to do. I'm leaving. It's good. I got in my car and started driving there. And I'm like texting Aaron on the way there because he's not expecting me. And I get there, and this is the very first time I met Mowgli, actually. I went to the gate of their warehouse, and they were doing something, and Mowgli came up to the gate, and I introduced myself, and he's like, well, Aaron's doing this live thing right now. He can't do anything. And I said, okay, I'll come back later. So I left to go get food, and then I came back. And it was loud in there, and I didn't want to interrupt anything. So I'm just like stretching by my car. My body's still a mess. And then I hear it kind of quiet down, and I start to like peek in. And Aaron saw me in the parking lot, like before I could get close. And he got really excited and like invited me in really enthusiastically. And so I got my board and I went in. As it turns out, they were doing a live helmet release for Andy Anderson. And they were doing it like over Zoom or whatever. And I didn't know that was happening. And when I walked in, there's like all the Braille guys and a bunch of cameras, and I have no idea what's happening. And Aaron told me to go warm up, so I'm like skating around. I didn't realize I was interrupting something that was happening live.
Okay.
Which I found out later and was very embarrassing, but and it would have been an opportunity too to meet Andy, who at the time, like, that was a thrilling idea to be able to interact with Andy.
So it was going on with Andy.
It was, yeah, they were doing it with Andy. It was his helmet release. They were selling his helmet through Braille.
Oh, so that's how you met Andy?
I didn't meet Andy there. No. No, I didn't know Andy yet.
So this happened a week after the first time trying it?
6 days.
6 days, and you were still sore.
Totally sore, yeah, but able to move. Like, I knew I was going to be able to jump enough to try.
It's like the kind of soreness when you try to walk up the stairs and the legs hurt to walk up the stairs.
Yeah, they hurt to walk up. They hurt to bend.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can jump if you have to.
You get used to it. Once you start like warming up, you get used to the pain, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, pain's fine. Like, the first 3 days, there was no strength. I couldn't move.
Yeah.
And then once you have strength, you can hurt.
It's on.
Yeah,
It's on.
Exactly.
So did you try that day?
Yeah. So went in, warmed up. They finished their thing with Andy. And I gave it probably 15 tries. I was pretty close on a lot of them. And then they took me into the other room where there's a little like stairs with a handrail. Mm-hmm. They had me hold on to the handrail. And I did 2 of them holding onto the handrail. And Aaron's like, you got it. Just go in there and do it. So I went into the other room. I think it was like maybe 8 or 9 tries. And I landed my first kickflip. And it was a good kickflip. I mean, I've probably landed, I don't know, 100 of them since. And maybe a dozen of them were as good as that one. Like, it was good.
So that was like one of your best kickflips
It was clean.
ever done.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if I'm honest, like, they're probably a little better now.
Okay.
But it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. You can look at it. It's out there.
You were hyped.
I was totally hyped. It was perfect. Yeah.
Damn. But 8 tries? It only took you 8 tries?
After I left the handrail in the other room.
How long were you trying the handrail for?
A few minutes. The whole time, from the time I started warming up till I walked out of there with a kickflip, maybe 45 minutes.
Okay.
At the most. And it was probably a 15, 20-minute warm-up.
It ain't no 10 hours.
No. It was nothing. It was like my body was like, we're not doing this again. Just commit to every try. Yeah.
Do you think that has to do with the muscle memory?
Yeah, I think my body was able to like digest a lot from the previous experience. I will say though that when I practice to fatigue, I think my body gets less good data than when I practice a reasonable amount of times.
Okay.
So I think if, for example, if I had gone for an hour and a half instead of 10 hours, I think my body would have learned better than that.
With that 1 hour and a half, because after that 1 hour and a half, you were probably doing it worst.
Yeah.
And that was building up as well.
And I'm confusing my body at that point too.
It happens. It's like, this happens a lot. You're thinking about a trick, you want to film it. And when you go film it, the first try always goes very well. Like, instead of, this is an example. Like, I want to try to kick flip back tail to big spin out. Like, the first try, it happens that you get so close, but then it takes you 5 hours after that.
Yeah, and you're getting further and
further away until there's no body and only a soul.
Exactly.
Damn, that's so crazy that happens. But
I think part of it too is self-consciousness. So the first try, you don't really know what to expect. You've got this image in your mind and you're just sort of throwing it out there. And then you start to overthink and, well, this is what happened, so I'm going to correct this way. And now my attention is on some small aspect of the trick instead of sort of the whole
picture.
Trick. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. So then I landed it. Like 2 months later, they made a video about it. The video came out and they called me the Legend of Rick G. And the video is beautiful. They did a really nice job. All the cringy moments that happened in 10 hours were not included. They painted a really nice picture of me.
Okay.
And in the comments to that video, there were a lot of older skateboarders that were inspired by it.
Yeah.
And it made me realize, like, up until that point, I had been really kind of living a sort of closed off life. I had a sort of a death in my life. The center of my life died, and I kind of shut down. And that kickflip and that video and that sort of me doing something in the public really sort of changed my disposition. And up until that point also, I had 0 friends that skateboard. I had never had a friend that skateboards my whole life.
Okay.
I met people at the skate park, but I never went to the same skate park all the time. So I didn't know anybody. And out of that kickflip and that sort of openness, like a whole world opened up to me.
The whole community.
Yeah.
You felt the joy.
Oh my God.
You were going through tough times, and then that happening made you feel like you were alive again, maybe?
I mean, I had already sort of done the grieving, right? So my partner died 10 years ago now.
Okay.
So at that time, they were already gone for 8 years.
Okay.
7.5 years. So I was already pretty deep there. And I was enjoying my life. I just wasn't doing anything in front of anybody.
Oh, got it.
My students knew me really well. My family knew me really well. That was it.
You isolated.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you feel after that? Like, what was going on through your mind?
One of the kids that made a comment on my video, I went to his YouTube page, and the video I watched was him sitting on his bed in the pandemic, talking about how terrible homeschooling was and how lonely he was and confused he was. And he was just so honest, and it was beautiful, honest explanation of what was happening in his life. And when I saw that, I was like, man, if this kid can put himself out there like that, and me trying to land a kickflip is going to inspire people, like maybe I should just like suck it up and open up and share what's going on in my life.
And keep going.
Yeah. So that
kid was like, he was opening up to his vulnerability. Like he said some stuff that maybe a lot of people are going through, and you felt like you were helping that kid, and maybe through that you are going to help other people.
I didn't even think about it like that. Like what I thought was that his honesty was inspiring to me.
Okay.
And if my kickflip is inspiring to other people, then if I can be that honest,
Okay.
then maybe we can really do something, you know? Okay. And skateboarding has always been such a joy for me. Like the idea of sort of putting my process out into the world was exciting, you know? And landing the kickflip also, when I got to that point where I thought maybe I can't learn this, and then I landed it, it was that reminder, right? And I'm a sports trainer for a living. So like I know everybody can get it every time. And for a lot of my students, it's my knowledge that they can do it that they have to defer to. So when they feel like it's impossible, they have somebody with ton of experience and incredible confidence saying like, look, you're wrong. I got you. Trust me. And so we have that relationship where they defer to me and then they get it. I've never had anybody not get it.
Okay.
So me landing that kickflip at that moment was like, oh yeah, okay. Like it's all on the table. There's, I'm not too old. I'm not too uncoordinated. Like whatever it is that I want to do with all of this, I can do it.
Yeah.
So let's go.
Let's go. You're telling yourself you can do it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And that opened up a whole community to you.
100%.
What do you think about this community, or the skateboarding community, compared to other things?
The skateboarding community's so special. It's such a deep bond that skateboarders have with each other. And there's so many qualities that skateboarders have because they're skateboarders. They're qualities that a lot of people have. But if you're a skateboarder, you develop a lot of these qualities, and it makes the community incredibly supportive. That doesn't mean there aren't trolls in the community or people that are closed-minded or pissed off or whatever.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, we're human beings, you know, but the skateboarding community is just an impossibly supportive community. The fact that everybody wants to celebrate everybody else's successes is not even that they want to. They can't stop themselves from celebrating each other's successes. And it's just beautiful because they all pay attention to each other. You know, if you're at level 9 and you're at level 7 and I'm at level 2, it doesn't make any difference. You're just as excited for my level 2 success as I am for your level 9 success.
True.
You know, and like you do an NBD off of some giant gap, and like, it's not like I'm like, oh, good job, Arturo. Great job. Keep going. It's like, oh, you know, and then if I, you know, do a scoop shove on flat, same thing, like, oh, let's go. You know, you just can't stop it.
I get it. Yeah. So it's like if you're seeing someone learn an ollie or flip, in this case, you know, you get the same type of excitement as if someone else is doing like another rail.
Absolutely.
Like a backlip at 20 stair rail. Because it's the same struggle, different levels. And
the crazy thing is that it's not just my excitement for me landing my thing. And it's not just you lending me your energy. You're feeling it for yourself.
Yeah.
So like when you're frustrated and you've been working on a trick for 45 minutes or 2 hours or whatever, and it's not happening, and you look over and you see that beginner just finally got the trick they've been working on for 45 minutes, like it lifts you up. It gives you a jolt, and it gets you more ready to go put it down, you know? It's beautiful.
You want more.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to feel the same feeling all over again and again. So that's why I think we're hooked to skateboarding too, because we always learning new tricks, and that new trick feels the same way that the past trick felt. So it's like we always want to like feel that feeling.
And we get to feel it when we move forward and when anyone else moves forward. That's one of the things that makes it unique. Because in most activities, you're focused on your own growth, or you're focused on the best of the best, right? If somebody's incredible, like, oh, I want to watch Michael Jordan play basketball, right? But like, I don't want to watch like that neighbor kid who's a little bit better than me. Like, I want to be better than him.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Whereas in skateboarding, like, I don't care who I'm watching. Like, are you getting something right now? Like, let's go. You know?
Getting something?
Yeah.
What do you think about the competition, though?
I think so. I've been training people in competitive athletics for my whole life, really, 35 years. And competition, I think, is important. I think competition elevates performance in ways that you can't do it any other way, really. It's like when you play a game of skate. I played a game of skate with Carolina yesterday, and she did switch front shove. Not only have I never considered doing switch front shove.
You never tried it before?
Never tried it before, and never even thought to try it. And regular front shove was a trick I had never tried until a game of skate, because it was weird and I just didn't feel like committing to it.
Yeah.
But she did switch front shove. And like, I'm in a game of skate. Like, I'm not going to just take a letter, you know, I'm going to try, you know, like, it's a competition.
Try,
like,
that's the competitive
yeah.
mind.
Like we made an agreement. Like, I am going for this.
Gotta try it.
Yeah. And I got super close, and like 3-4 tries later, I got it. And it's like, the most thrilling win for me. I lost the game right away. Like I got 5 letters right away. You know, kickflip, fakey flip, heel flip. I'm like, oh God.
But you got something out of it.
I won. I mean, that was victory for sure.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So in skateboarding, competition, valuable. It elevates performance. Beautiful. But what's celebrated is important. So in most athletics, what's celebrated is victory. You win, great job, we celebrate you. If you win today and tomorrow and the next day, you get celebrated all 3 times. But as soon as you lose, that's done. No more celebrations for you.
You suck.
Yeah. You didn't win. And well, you should have done X, Y, or Z, and maybe you would have won. Yeah. And maybe you need to do X, Y, and Z so that you can win next time. And if you don't win next time, then you're less of a athlete or person or whatever. Your value is diminished.
So there's a lot of expectations for you when you're always like, when you're the top guy.
Pressure.
A lot of pressure.
And all of your adulation is conditional. Okay. It's all based on how well you perform, how well you compete, how well you dominate others. And in skateboarding, what's celebrated is expression. If you do a crappy job and you get hurt, we're going to celebrate. Yeah. Every time. Yeah. Every time I've fallen and like hit pretty hard, like the first thing I hear are boards smacking. Oh, yeah. People are like, let's go. And then I get like, you good? Right? And if my hand doesn't go up right away, like somebody comes over and like, oh, it's bleeding a lot.
I think you're hurt.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. You're right.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So you don't have to do good. You don't have to win. All you have to do is put yourself out there and you're going to get celebrated by skateboarders. Yeah. So you asked the question you asked is like, how do I feel about the skateboarding community? I think it's one of the most supportive group of people I've ever met. And it's so open. And like you can see a skateboarder just by seeing the scuff mark on their shoes. Right? They don't have to have a skateboard in their hand. They don't have to be dressed a certain way. When I see that Ollie, that flick mark on your shoe, I know you're a skater. Yeah. And I feel connected to you immediately. And it's happened to me multiple times that I've met people who don't speak English in America that are visiting to skateboard, that don't have a place to stay. And without knowing them for more than an hour, just watching them skate with each other, I can so comfortably say, here's a key. This is the address. Damn. Enjoy yourself. Fuck. And I got nothing to fear. If you're able to like try for 45 minutes, get hurt, laugh, celebrate, look at the clip, laugh some more, try again, get hurt again. What are you going to do? You're going to steal something from me? Like, that's not how any of this works. You're just out trying to express yourself. I have resources that you need. Come use them. Yeah. No fear. And what that led to every time I've done it is like the most beautiful exchange of ideas and energy. It's just beautiful.
Brand new house.
The Japanese kids did fix up my house really nice. Yeah, they did.
Hell yeah! So that well, for me, competition is against myself. It's not for other people. Like I'm not trying to beat anyone. I'm trying to beat myself. I'm trying to improve myself all the time. So that's my only competition. Do you think that's a healthy way of looking at it, or that's still competition? Like you're still trying to you're still putting pressure on you.
I mean, the drive for growth, I don't know that that's necessarily a competitive drive, right? So when I play a game of skate, I'm trying to beat you. It's not my primary objective, but that's what we agreed on. And if I'm better than you, then what I want to do is tricks that I think you could land, right? So that comes above winning the game. But in tennis, I'm trying to beat you.
Yeah.
Like, do I want to be getting better in the process? Of course. I'm driven to grow all the time. But it's the W or an L. It's that simple. In skateboarding, it's not a W or an L. If I can get you to do a trick you've never done, I get to have that feeling.
Yeah,
that feeling of like, let's go. That's the one, right? Same game of skate with Carolina. I did Ollie 1-footer, right? It's my favorite trick. And I'm not that good at it. And then her first time ever doing it, hers was way better. It was way better, but it was so exciting because it was her first one. It was awesome. And then Renata just smoked it. It was so good. Nobody got a letter.
Ninja kick.
Yeah. Renata's good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out. Yeah.
But it'd be, so what you said was that when you compete, you're trying to compete against yourself. And I don't know if that's true or not. Like, you signed up for a competition. You can beat yourself like practicing in the garage.
That's what I mean, though. Like, when I'm going skating not by myself, but when I'm going skating outside without a competition, like, I'm always trying to improve.
Yeah, but that's not competing. That's different. The drive for growth, I don't think, is necessarily competitive drive. That's internal motivation. That's like building your own expectations of what you're capable of, feeling out your realm, and like trying to figure out which limitations that you have are real and which aren't real. And if you have a real limitation, you lift weights, you get stronger, you push that barrier back a little bit. And when you have false limitations, it's useful to have people around you or a competition that forces you past those limitations, right? So in my head, like, I can't really do switch tricks. I'm not comfortable riding switch. It's awkward. And I can't really do front shove very well, right? But being in that game of skate, being in that competitive environment, it caused me to recognize those are false barriers. I can pop switch. I can front shove. Get your feet on the board. You don't want a letter. You know what I mean? It's like that competitive drive is really helpful.
So I think we're wired to it then.
Yeah, absolutely. And in our culture, our society, our world is all that with only the celebration of victory and dominance, and is ruining the whole world. Okay. And so that's what I want to do in my life now. So skateboarding's maybe not for everybody, right? There's some people that don't want to get hurt. They're whatever. They believe that they have some limitation that they don't have. But whatever, the lessons that skateboarding teaches, those lessons are for everybody. So what I want to do is to start to use what I've learned in skating and to start to bring that to the greater population in other arenas. Because the idea that we should be competing against each other and dominating each other and celebrating that dominance, we have to stop, because we're killing each other and we're chewing up the earth, and we don't care because we have a nice car and a television set and we can, flaunt our jewelry or whatever. And it's like, look, we're not going to get through together that way. We're going to kill each other. And until we can start to celebrate each other's attempts to express ourselves, until we can look at somebody who's doing a bad job and getting hurt and say, like, let's go. Like, do you need some ice?
You need some ice.
We'll get you some ice, and then you can try that again. By the way, I think that's stupid trick. I hate that trick.
I think your leg is broken, but let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that looks pretty bad.
But let's go.
Exactly. Instead of like, oh, well, you shouldn't do that. You should do it the way I would do it. And here, I'll show you. I'll dominate you. It's like,
it's like you said before, like, if you do a tray flip and the other person can't do the tray flip, you want them to land it.
Exactly.
Even though you want to win.
Yeah. And if you think there's no way they can do a tray flip, you're not going to do a tray flip. You're going to do some trick that you think they might be able to land.
Maybe last trick. Last trick of my that's strategy.
Last trick, fair enough.
Last trick has to be a good trick.
But last trick should also be a good trick for you.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
A trick that you're not going to land every time.
Exactly. So I think that's fair.
I played Greg in skate. Yeah. And first letter, I did like a bunch of 360s. Like, let's go, Greg. Get a letter. Take it. Take the letter. And then he got the letter, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to play.
And how do you think we can accept reality in this skateboarding community?
I mean, that skating is automatic acceptance of reality, right? Because no skater is going to pretend that they landed a trick perfectly when they didn't. Everyone around them might be like, you did it, that was perfect. And they're like, my foot touched the ground. No, I didn't see it. Like, it happened. I'm doing it again.
Okay.
Right? Whereas, you know, you watch golfers, right? And like, we just nudge the ball a little bit. Nobody can see.
That happens?
Oh, I missed, but I won't count that swing, you know? And then you finish the hole and the guy's like, oh, I got a 5. And you're thinking, bro, you lost your ball. I saw you take 4 swings at it. Like, what do you put 5? Like, I got a 5. Yeah. You got like a 9. But they don't, that's not about, I mean, it is, right? It's a gentleman's game where you're supposed to.
It should be a gentleman's game.
It should be. Yeah. But we, as humans, have a hard time accepting reality. We're entitled people that think that we can want something so bad that it's true, right? You see it in cheating. Like, even in tennis, like if you watch teenagers play tennis with each other, even teenagers who are relatively honest, lovely kids, when they hit a ball that their opponent calls out that felt good, no way that was out. They're cheating, right? Okay. But their opponent hits a ball close to the line, out, right? And it's like, well, you know, and as a coach, I got to be like, okay, first off, that was in. I'm sorry. I know you wanted it to be out, but it wasn't. If a ball touches the line, it's in, right? And second off, when you're sure that your opponent is cheating, like, you got to realize what's happening on both sides of that net. And then I'll go and I'll set a ball down that's barely touching the line on the other side of the court from them and say, is that in or is that out? Right? And I don't know. And I'll give it this much space. Is it in or is it out? I can't see. Right? Yeah. And then I'll have them stand behind their own line and I'll place a ball, right, that's this far behind the line. I'm like, can you see space between the ball and the line? No. Is it in or out? In. And then I have them walk up and they see that it's out. And it's like, it's so difficult to like accept the reality and accept the rule.
Perspective changes, right?
If you can't be 100% certain that a ball is out, then it's in. And when the ball's on the other side of the net, it's not your call. Yeah. You know, and like accepting all of that as reality is very difficult for people. But in skateboarding, it's not difficult at all. In skateboarding, it's me. I'm feeling it. Did it feel the way I wanted it to? If it didn't, I'm going to keep going. I don't care what you say, right? Reality is what I experience.
Like your flip, like you wanted to land it good.
Yeah.
That's the reality that you wanted.
Absolutely.
And it reminds me of the time Seva walked, he played skate. Yeah, he played skate against, I don't remember who, but he landed a sketchy, he landed a trick sketchy, and he said, no, it doesn't count. And he could have won with that trick, I think. I think it was the last trick for the other opponent. But he said no. And he lost because of that. You know, but he still called it out.
And at the end of the day, I guarantee on his ride home, he wasn't like, oh, I should have just taken it. He was like, oh, man, I can't believe I lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I did the right thing.
Yeah. And like, he probably wasn't even celebrating himself for it. It was just, that's just how it is. If you didn't land it, you didn't land it.
Yeah.
And if you got hurt, you got hurt. Like when I fall, I'm not looking for something to blame. You know, it's like, okay, how bad is it? Like, can I get up and keep going? If I can't, how many weeks off? Right? Like, it's not like, oh, I should have done this. I can't believe this happened. Why was this here? How come somebody didn't blah, blah, blah? It's just reality. Like you failed, you're hurt.
I get it.
Do whatever you got to do.
So when you do that, when you complain, like you're complaining, you're not taking ownership in the situation, you know. Mm-hmm. And I fell in that category growing up skating. Like I always blamed it on other stuff instead of taking ownership of the situation. Instead of saying, okay, so this happened. Oh well, I got hurt. Oh well, I'll get better. But my mind was like, oh man, I don't know if I'll be able to skate again. Always, all the time. So that's self-sabotage, you know?
Yeah.
And that hurt me for a while, like until I realized I'm not gonna blame it on me. I was blaming it on everything and myself, you know? Mm-hmm. And I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that anymore. And that's when I started feeling better.
So skating eventually taught you that lesson.
It taught me that lesson, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it teaches us all that lesson eventually. I really do. And I think skaters are particularly good at sitting with whatever emotion with each other, right? Because like the exhilaration we feel when we just landed a trick, that's silly, right? Like, we're playing with a toy. Like, I just did this thing and now I'm so excited. Like the most important thing just happened. Yeah. That's ridiculous. Is just as ridiculous as that's the 30th try and now I want to break my board on this rail right now because I can't get it. Like, okay, bro, like it's ridiculous. Like it's all ridiculous and we know it. Mm-hmm. And so I can be with somebody who's acting out and not be like, hey, you shouldn't behave that way. Like, it's like, okay, like that's what he's going through right now. Like, we're here, like, you know, like, do you want to stop? Like, if you want to stop, we can, but I'm going to keep holding the camera. So if you want to keep going, let's go, you know? I know you can do it, you know? So we're good at teaching each other that way because we're not trying to control each other. We're just bearing witness and we're there. We're ready to celebrate regardless of what happens.
Yeah, so that's what it teaches you. Mm-hmm. What do you think about compassion in skateboarding?
I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about. It's the same thing, right? I know how you're feeling. I can feel it myself. And it's easy for me as a skater to understand it. So the empathy is there. And then it's similarly like I have enough experience from being around it that I can make the situation, I can be present for you and I can offer you some comfort as the tension gets strong, or I can offer you some calm as things start to get too frantic, right? It's easy to recognize how somebody is and to be with them in a way that helps temper it. And so, I think skaters have an easy time with compassion. They can see suffering and they can ease suffering without having to push or pull it. And that's a huge strength. Okay. And I think it's something that's missing in America more maybe than here. You know, I think the community here, I've seen some pretty sophisticated things going on here. Like I saw a guy the other day in front of the Plan Seccional. Mm-hmm. He was blowing into a blade of grass and making a whistling sound. And I didn't know what he was up to at first. And I was just watching him and he was like, he's sort of a strange guy. Like he seemed a little bit awkward. And every so often someone would just put like a peso in his hand. And I was like, oh, like he's a guy who can't work his ass off like everybody else in this country. Like he's in some way that capacity's not there. And he's basically saying like, I'm here. And people are like, oh, I see you. Like here, we're going to take care of you. And that is sophisticated behavior, right? In America, if you're sitting on the street and you have your hand out, 90% of the people walking by think you're a piece of garbage. Yeah. And they're upset that they have to look at you and they have to smell you and they have to share their street with you because they pay taxes and blah, blah, blah.
And it belongs to them.
Yeah. And it's like, So skateboard, that whole idea of compassion is really lacking in America as a general rule, especially in large urban centers where wealthy people have moved in, over the course of the .com boom and all this time, and they've taken ownership of all of this stuff, and they don't have compassion for anybody, and they pretend that it's their hard work that got them where they are. And it's like, you got to be kidding if you think that you're so special, that all that wealth that came your way is because you were more clever and you worked harder. It's like this life is these situations that we're given or situations we're given. None of this works if we're not relying on each other. So to think that this person who's suffering and unable to take care of themselves is somehow blameworthy for their circumstance is pretty blind, in my opinion. And skateboarders, I think, have a much better time. I mean, I know of dozens and dozens and dozens of situations that I've been in with skateboarders where we've been able to feed someone, get shoes on someone, get safety for someone, right? Just because we can see, there's a problem here. There's a problem here, and I'm not scared of it because I'm not scared to get hurt because I'm a skateboarder. And I can see the pain because I feel the pain because I'm a skateboarder. And so here we are. And, I have resources. Let me use my resources with you. No problem. Skaters are not selfish people. You don't see a skater, like, no, don't use my skate tool. Like, it's mine. I don't want to lose it. Like, don't use my wax. It's my last bit of wax. Here's the wax. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Skaters are just, their eyes are open. They're not scared to deal with problems. They're not scared of blood. They're not scared of bad smells. They're not scared of poor people or rich people or angry people or passive people. They're not scared. Yeah, we're just humans.
Yeah.
We're human beings.
So compassion means like feeling for each other?
Yeah.
Because people say you gotta show empathy to other people. But I'm like, I'm not going through what the other person is going through. I can't feel for that person because that person is probably feeling something else that I don't know how it feels. How do you show that compassion? How do you feel that? How do you feel it?
Presence, right? Like the human experience is so broad, and you're going to have the experiences that you have that you sort of use as reference points for the various emotional states. But if you can just pay really close attention, like keep your eyes open and breathe with somebody and sit with somebody, like you can feel the energy that's coming out of them, and I think that's where compassion comes. It's not sympathy, right? It's not like pity. Like, you feel bad. I feel bad for you. It's like, you feel that way. Like, I understand. I'm here, And I think that's really where compassion comes from. I think when you recognize that everybody's really the same, that we're all part of the same body, like we're everybody.
We are one.
Yeah. And I think if you can just quiet down in your own mind, I think the problem with empathy is when I try and think about myself, how does this relate to me? How would I feel? Because our circumstances are all different. We've all had different experiences.
Exactly.
And so I might not have the capacity to actually understand how you're feeling by using my own reference points. But I can sit with you and listen to you and pay attention to you. And when you deliver your attention skillfully, I think that exchange happens where I'm not trying to affect your situation, but I'm here. And I'm caring and loving and attentive.
So I'm not gonna try to say anything. I'm just gonna be there for you.
Yeah.
Here's my presence.
And if something feels like it should come out, right? Maybe they're asking for a response, or they're in a situation where while you're being present, it comes to you that you could say this thing or that thing. And then you can feel the response. You know, it's like when we share stories with each other, really stories that are important to us, and we listen well to each other, we're transmitting more than a story. We're transmitting a lot of feelings. And when we listen to each other really well, we get a lot more than just a story. We get a sense for another being and another experience of life. And that's enriching. And the more of those that we experience, the easier it is to start to really be able to relate to people who are going through things that you've never gone through. You know, and like a battle on a stair set. Yeah, I've never jumped down a 15 stair, right? I've certainly never tried to jump down a 15 stair 45 times in an hour and bail after bail after bail. I know every one of those bails is impact.
It's harsh.
Right? Yeah. It's not like when you're trying, you know, to front 180 down a curb 80 times. It's not the same kind of battle.
It's not.
You know? But I don't need to experience that to understand what's going on there. You know? And when you can barely walk up the steps for the 65th try, like, I can feel what's going on there. Like, I don't need to have experienced it to understand that. And I think life is sort of like that. You know, that guy we saw on the street the other day with the crutches, who was juggling a soccer ball with one foot because he only had one leg in traffic. Like, I don't know what that's like, but I saw it. I saw what he was up to.
And you felt it.
That guy is working hard. Yeah. That guy's working hard. And somebody in a Range Rover is thinking, why is this guy in my way right now?
Let's get that Range Rover, though.
We'll get it.
Rick.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, dude, what an honor. What a joy.
Dude, love you, dude.
I love you too, Arturo. Thank you so
It was a pleasure.
Thank you for your time, and I'm enjoying your time.
Me too. Thank you. I'm having so much fun with you. You've shown me so much generosity and so much life. It's incredible.
Thank you.
What an honor.
Let's keep it going.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Let's keep it going.
Hell yeah.
All
6 stairs today.
¿Cómo vamos?
We have to leave.
Okay.
We are about an hour.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to leave it like that. You know, Cancún, Oaxaca, another podcast.
Michoacán también.
Michoacán.
Yeah.
All right.
It could be.
We will continue it. Thank you, bro.
Okay.
Thank you.
Arturo. Thank you, Tony.
Well, pick an emoji for the viewers to write down on the comments.
An emoji?
An emoji. Do you use emojis?
Yeah.
What's your favorite one?
My favorite one is the winky heart kiss. Yeah. But I also like the praying hands, heart praying hands.
Yeah, we can use that.
You can use that.
I like that.
Yeah. Pues ya lo escucharon, mi raza. Pongan acá el emoji de las manitas acá como... It's like praying or something like that.
Yeah, like thank you.
Thank you.
Heart, thank you.
Gratitude.
Ok, así es, Simón. Pues ya lo escucharon, ponen el emoji de las manitas acá y un par de corazones, dijo, ¿no? Y luego otra vez el otro para que muestran apoyo al Rick. La neta, muchas gracias. It's our pleasure. Pues nada, la neta, agradecer a toda la banda que se quedó hasta aquí. Nos vemos en un siguiente episodio. Recuerden que los campeones no usan drogas. MNS.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Second.
Damn, that shit was fine. You guys are beautiful people.